Okay, you guys, Brandy is done. People are saying she was Jay-Z's secret side piece while he was married to Beyonce. And Beyonce allegedly just found out. This whole situation has the internet spinning because we're talking about two of the most powerful women in R&B. A messy love triangle and blind items that are connecting dots people thought would never connect. The drama between Brandy and Beyonce on the Renaissance tour, it suddenly makes so much more sense now. And trust me, this kid's way deeper than you think. So everybody thought they knew the full story about the tension between Brandy and Beyonce during the Renaissance tour, right? We heard Ray J speaking out, claiming Beyonce refused to speak to Brandy. Rumors were floating around that these two ladies weren't close, weren't really friends, and there was this weird energy between them that nobody could quite explain. That was the version everyone was repeating. And now, new blind items and allegations got the whole narrative twisting, because it's not just about professional jealousy or diva behavior anymore. We're talking about betrayal on a whole different level. We're talking about Jay-Z allegedly creeping with Brandy behind Beyonce's back for years. And if these allegations are true, the fallout is about to be insane. Let me break down exactly what's being alleged here, because this blind item that dropped recently has the internet going wild. The blind item reads, and I quote, "Word is, the one named permanent A-list singer found out her husband used to routinely hook up with another one named artist, the one with the corn star brother." Now, for anyone who doesn't know how blind items work, they're essentially anonymous celebrity gossip tips that use clues instead of names. And online detectives, they turn into full-blown investigators with this one. They immediately started connecting the dots. One named permanent A-list singer, that's clearly Beyonce. The husband? Jay-Z, obviously. Another one named artist with the corn star brother? That's Brandy, whose brother Ray J is infamous for that Kim Kardashian tape. And it gets even crazier. Fans online been studying every interaction between Brandy and Beyonce over the years. They're going back their old award shows, red carpet moments, interviews. They're slowing down frames, zooming in on body language, analyzing who's standing where, who's avoiding who. And folks online swear they can see the tension now that they know what to look for. TMZ hasn't confirmed this yet, but the blind item community, they're treating this like it's basic confirmed. And the timing of when Beyonce allegedly found out, that's what makes this whole thing even more explosive. Reports say she discovered this information recently, which would explain so much about the Renaissance tour drama. Think about it. You're Beyonce. You're on tour. You've invited Brandy to join you on this massive career-defining tour. You're being professional. You're being cordial. And then, boom. You find out this woman was allegedly sleeping with your husband behind your back for years? How do you even process that? How do you continue performing with someone after learning something like that? Now, let's get into the motive and the history here, because this is where everything starts clicking into place. Jay-Z's cheating isn't new information, right? We all remember Lemonade. We all remember the elevator incident with Solange. We know Jay-Z stepped out on Beyonce multiple times. But Brandy? That's a name nobody saw coming. Let's keep it real. When we think about Jay-Z's alleged affairs, we usually think about Rachel Roy, Rihanna rumors, other industry women. But Brandy has always had this wholesome girl next door image. She's the vocal Bible. She's the one who gives God all the glory. She is the one praying in elevators before performances. So for her name to come up in a cheating scandal with Jay-Z, that hits different. But here's what makes this plausible, and I hate to say it, industry connections. Jay-Z and Brandy been in the same circles for decades. They both came up in the 90s. They both worked with the same producers, attended the same industry events, moved in the same elite celebrity spaces. The opportunity was definitely there. And think about the timeline. There were years when Brandy was going through her own relationship drama. She had that situation with her ex-fiance. She's dealt with public scrutiny about her personal life. Meanwhile, Jay-Z and Beyonce were building their empire. But behind closed doors, We now know there were serious cracks in the marriage. Put all that together, the industry proximity, the overlapping timelines, Jay-Z's confirmed pattern of infidelity, and it starts looking like the perfect recipe for a secret affair that nobody outside their inner circle will know about. And it gets worse for Brandy, because if this allegation is true, her reputation is about to take a massive hit. We're talking about someone who's built their entire brand on being relatable, faithful, spiritual. If the public believes she was knowingly involved with a married man, especially Beyonce's husband, that's career-damaging level drama. But here's the part that really hits different for me. The one who got caught up in the middle of all this was Beyonce. And I know what you're thinking. Beyonce is the most powerful woman in entertainment. She's fine. She's unbothered. But let's humanize this for a second. Beyonce is someone's wife. She's someone's mother. She's a woman who, despite all the fame and the billions and the iconic status, has to deal with the same betrayal and heartbreak that regular women deal with. She's been publicly humiliated by her husband's infidelity before. She's had to process that pain in the public eye. She turned that pain into art with Lemonade, but that doesn't mean it didn't destroy her emotionally. And now imagine finding out that one of the women your husband allegedly cheated with is someone you've known for years, someone in your industry, someone you're currently on tour with. That's messed up on so many levels. The alleged leaked information suggests Beyonce just found out about the Brandy situation recently. That means she's been processing this fresh betrayal while having to maintain professionalism on stage, while having to smile for cameras, while having to perform night after night in front of thousands of people who have no idea what she's going through internally. That's somebody's wife, and she's dealing with trauma over a situation that was hidden from her for potentially years. The footage we saw of Beyonce and Randy on tour. Knowing this context now, you can see it differently. Beyonce's keeping her distance. She's cordial, but cold. She's doing her job, but the warmth isn't there. And here's what's really wild. Kelly Rowland was on that tour too. Can you imagine being Kelly in this situation? Your best friend since childhood, your sister, finds out her husband allegedly cheated with another artist, an artist you're all sharing a stage with. How do you navigate that? How do you stay professional when you probably want to protect your friend? Kelly has been ride or die for Beyonce their entire lives. If Beyonce is hurting, Kelly is hurting. But they're under contract. They have to finish the tour. They have to perform like nothing's wrong. That's the dark side of fame right there. You don't get to process your pain privately. You have to compartmentalize and keep it moving. Now, this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize the timing of everything. Let's talk about the Renaissance tour specifically, because this is where the cracks started showing publicly. The Renaissance tour was supposed to be a celebration. Beyonce was bringing out special guests, creating these iconic moments, cementing her legacy even further. When it was announced that Brandy and Monica would be joining for select shows, fans went crazy. The Versus Queens, the 90s R&B legends, together with Beyonce, that's a dream lineup. But then we started getting weird signals. Ray J, Brandy's brother, made comments about Beyonce not speaking of Brandy. At first, people brushed it off. Maybe it was miscommunication. Maybe it was just professional distance. But Ray J seemed pressed about it, like he was defending his sister from something. Then we got footage of Brandy and Monica backstage during the tour, and if you go back and watch those clips now, with this context, the energy makes so much more sense. Brandy looks nervous. She's trying to be upbeat, cracking jokes, but there's this underlying tension. Monica's cooler, more collected, but even she seems to be navigating a strange vibe. And remember that viral clip of Brandy literally shaking with excitement to meet Beyonce? She's holding her hand in the elevator, acting like a super fan, talking about how she's tripping and how she can't believe she's standing next to Beyonce. At the time, people thought it was cute. Brandy's just humble and starstruck, right? But what if that nervousness wasn't just about admiration? What if she was nervous because she knew? What if she knew Beyonce had found out about the alleged affair and she was terrified about how Beyonce would react? That would explain why she's so over the top grateful, why she keeps emphasizing how much she respects Beyonce. Think about the power dynamic here. Beyonce holds all the cards. She's the headliner. She's the one who invited Brandy on tour. If Beyonce wanted to, she could have Brandy removed with one phone call. But instead, Beyonce kept it professional. She fulfilled her contract. She let Brandy perform. But she made it clear there's no friendship here. There's no warmth. This is business, and once this tour is over, they don't need to interact again. That's power. That's grace under pressure. But that's also pain. Because Beyonce is essentially having to work with her alleged husband's mistress and keep a smile on her face for the sake of the show. But wait, because we're not done. The blind item also mentioned that Beyonce has allegedly been having an affair of her own with her bodyguard, Julius. And listen, this isn't new tea. People have been whispering about Beyonce and Julius for years. Now, I'm not here to confirm or deny anything, but the rumors have been persistent. Julius has been with Beyonce for a long time. He's in the background of countless photos. He travels with her everywhere. They have undeniable chemistry in photos where he's escorting her through the crowds. And the internet, they've been convinced something is going on for a minute now. The blind item suggests that Beyonce might even be living with Julius at this point, which, if true, would confirm what a lot of people have suspected, that the marriage between Beyonce and Jay-Z is more of a business arrangement than an actual romantic relationship at this point. And honestly, that would make sense. They've gone through so much public drama. The cheating scandals, the elevator fight, the Lemonade era. They have 3 kids together, a billion-dollar empire, shared business interests. Divorce would be messy, expensive, and damaging to both their brands. So what if they came into an agreement? What if they decided to stay married publicly, maintain the image of the power couple, but live separate personal lives behind the scenes? Jay-Z does his thing, Beyonce does hers, and they come together for business, for the kid, for appearances. That would explain why they're both still allegedly stepping out. If the marriage is essentially an open arrangement at this point, then the affairs aren't really betrayals, they're just the reality of their situation. But the difference is Beyonce finding out about Brandy specifically might have crossed a line. Because it's one thing to have random flings. It's another thing to find out your husband was involved with someone in your industry, someone you know, someone you're currently on tour with. That's messed up on so many levels. Now, let's talk about the public perception game here, because this is where Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Brandy are all playing chess, not checkers. All 3 of them have carefully cultivated images, and allegations like this threaten everything they've built. Beyonce's image is untouchable. She's not just a singer, she's an icon, a cultural force, a symbol of Black excellence and female empowerment. She's protective of her privacy, she controls her narrative, and she doesn't respond to rumors. Her strategy has always been to stay publicly and let her work speak for itself. So even if these allegations are killing her inside, even if she's furious, even if she wants to scream from the rooftops, she won't. Because that's not how Beyonce operates. She'll process it privately. She'll maybe drop clips that look lyrics in her next album, but she'll never address this directly. Now, Jay-Z, on the other hand, he's already admitted to cheating on 4x4. He's done the public apology tour. He's talked about going to therapy, working on himself, trying to save his marriage. So if the Brandy allegations come out more publicly, his team will probably lean into the "that was in the past, we've moved on" narrative. But Brandy, she's in the most vulnerable position here. Her image is wholesome, faith-based, relatable. She's the girl who thanks God in every interview, who posted Bible verses on Instagram, whose steen is genuine and down to earth. If the public starts believing she was a knowing participant in an affair with Jay-Z, especially with Beyonce as the wife, that's reputation destroying. And the internet doesn't forgive easily. Look what happened to Rachel Roy after the Becky with the good hair rumors. She got dragged for years. Brandy would face it even worse because she's more famous, more established, and the betrayal would feel more personal to Beyonce's fans. The Beehive does not play. They will dissect every Brandy has ever done, every interaction she's had with Beyonce, every lyric in her songs. They will turn into a forensic analyst looking for evidence. And once the Beehive decide you're an enemy, it's over. Now, let's pump the brakes for a second and talk about the other side of this, because I know some of you are thinking, this sounds too wild to be true.
And you're right to be skeptical. Blind items are tricky. Some of them end up being accurate. We've seen blind items predict scandals before they break publicly. But some of them are completely made up, designed to get clicks and stir up drama. So we have to take this with a grain of salt until there's actual confirmation.
Here's the thing about Brandy specifically. She's never been linked to this kind of messy behavior before. She's had her own relationship drama, sure. She was engaged, that ended. She's dealt with personal struggles, talked openly about depression and finding herself. But homewrecker, side chick, that doesn't fit the Brandy we know. And if this affair had been going on for years, wouldn't someone have leaked it before now? We live in the age of social media and DAs getting broken, people talking for clout. Jay-Z and Brandy couldn't have kept something like this completely under wraps for that long without a single credible leak. So here's another possibility. What if the tension between Beyonce and Brandy on tour had nothing to do with Jay-Z? What if it was professional jealousy, competition, creative differences? What if Ray J just stirred up drama because he felt his sister wasn't getting enough respect and the internet ran with it? Or what if there was something between Jay-Z and Brandy, but it was years ago, before he married Beyonce, and it's being misconstrued as an affair when it was actually just a past connection? Timing matters, and blind items don't always get the timeline right. We also have to consider that Beyonce and Brandy were never publicly close friends to begin with. They're peers. They respect each other's work, but they were never squad members, so the distance between them on tour might just be normal professional boundaries, not evidence of betrayal. I'm just saying, we don't know these people personally. We see what they allow us to see. And assuming we can read between the lines based on a few clips and a blind item is a stretch. But here's what we do know for sure. Celebrity marriages are complicated as hell, and the bigger the stars, the more complicated it gets. Beyonce and Jay-Z have been together for over 20 years. They've built an empire together. They have 3 children. They're worth over $1 billion combined. Their relationship isn't just about love, it's about business, legacy, image, family, power. So when people ask, would Beyonce really stay with Jay-Z after all this cheating? The answer is, it's not that simple. Divorce, at their level, isn't just about splitting up. It's about dividing assets, custody battles, public fallout, damage to both their brands, impact on their children. And let's be real, powerful men cheat. It's a tale as old as time. And powerful women often make the calculated decision to stay, not because they're weak, but because they're strategic. They weigh the options, they protect their interests, they prioritize their children, and they decide that staying is the better move. That doesn't mean they're happy. That doesn't mean they're not hurt. It just means they're playing a different game than we are. They're thinking long-term, legacy, generational wealth, protecting their family's image. And honestly, we don't know what agreements they have privately. Maybe they've redefined what their marriage looks like. Maybe they're both okay with a more open arrangement as long as certain boundaries are respected. Maybe the Brandy situation crossed one of those boundaries, which is why it's allegedly causing friction now. The point is, we can't judge their relationship based on our standards. Their reality is completely different from ours. What looks like dysfunction to us might be a functional arrangement to them. What looks like betrayal to us might be an understanding they have. So where does this leave us? We have explosive allegations, we have blind items connecting dots, we have tension that was visible during the Renaissance tour, and we have a history of infidelity that makes this allegation at least plausible. But we also have no concrete proof. We have speculation, fan theories, and circumstantial evidence. Until Beyonce, Jay-Z, or Brandy address this directly, which, let's be honest, they probably never will, we're left to connect the dots ourselves. What I will say is this. The way Beyonce handled herself on that tour, regardless of what was happening behind the scenes, is a masterclass in professionalism. Whether these allegations are true or not, she showed up, she performed at the highest level, and she didn't let personal drama interfere with her artistry.
And Brandy? If these allegations aren't true, I hope she speaks out and clears her name, because this kind of rumor can be career damaging. But if there's any truth to it, that's a reckoning she'll have to face, and it's not gonna be pretty. At the end of the day, we don't know these celebrities for real. We see their public personas, their carefully crafted images, their controlled narratives. But who they are behind closed doors, that's a mystery. And maybe that's the point. Maybe we're not supposed to know everything. But one thing's for sure, this story is far from over. More details are going to drop, more blind items are going to surface, and the internet is going to keep investigating like they're working for the FBI. So I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Brandy and Jay-Z really had something going on? Do you think Beyonce just found out? Or do you think she's known for years and just kept it private? And do you believe the rumors about Beyonce and her bodyguard Julius? Make sure you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates, because I'm covering every single twist that comes out of the situation. The tea is piping hot and we're just getting started. I appreciate you for rocking with me through this deep dive. Stay safe out there, and remember, not everything that glitters in Hollywood is gold. Sometimes it's just good PR. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.